Hey everyone, Gill Gross here, post-match Novak Djokovic versus Andrey Rublev, Australian Open 2023 quarterfinal. If you're not here for spoilers, click off the video in 3, 2, 1. Djokovic in straights over Rublev, 6-1, 6-2, 6-4. And for the 10th time, Djokovic is in an Australian Open semifinal. You may notice he is also going for his 10th title, so he has never lost since he's been past this point. Andrey Rublev is now 0-7 in major quarterfinals. I heard Petchy on the broadcast say Tommy Robredo is someone who was also 0-7, so I don't know if that's the record, 7 quarterfinals without making a semi, but really Rublev's best chances were last year when he lost a semi against Cilic and Tiafoe. So Rublev's 0-7 now. And then one other stat I do want to throw out at the top here. Djokovic has now won 18 straight matches against top 10 opponents in Australia. 18-match win streak against top 10 opponents. Utterly absurd stuff. And overall, I mean, you heard me say the scoreline. It's just crazy that this match and all it was and what it felt like, where you went in, you didn't give Rublev that much of a chance, and then the first set was 6-1, and then it just didn't really feel like much of a competitive affair. And you think about who Novak is playing here. A guy who is the world number 6, and is not just the world number 6 who had a big run at a big event and kind of stumbled into that ranking. No. Like, this is the world number 6. This is a guy who has finished in the top 8 3 years in a row, yet it feels like the level is completely different between these two players. And it's not that surprising, but it is kind of worth stepping back, thinking about that, because it is easy to take something like that for granted. Coverage of the Australian Open is brought to you by BetUS. For this year's AO, play with America's favorite sportsbook and get $125 extra on your first deposit using the link in the description and the promo code GIL. So Novak starts the match hitting really big from the baseline. Good points on the onset. But what was very clear is he was kind of going after Rublev's forehand to the point where it felt like everybody was talking about that. So why? Why would Djokovic go at Rublev's forehand when Rublev's forehand is better than his backhand, and nobody would argue the other way? Well, because Novak wants to open up space in the backhand side is, I think, the answer to that question. He knows that if he hits quality to Rublev's forehand, he's not going to get hurt. And Novak is confident enough in both his depth and his movement where he's not going to be terrified to go to Rublev's forehand. Like, it's not a scary proposition for him. So he has the courage to do it. And that's the first thing. But the reason why he wants to take advantage of that courage and actually do it is because Rublev's backhand defense is not good. So if you go cross court, you go to his forehand, you move him on the court, you move him to that forehand side, you open up the backhand side where he doesn't defend well. So that's why you go to the forehand first and then you go to the backhand. It's often for Novak about where you want a player to run to, because wherever you go first is not where you're making them run. So if Novak's pattern was pepper the backhand, pepper the backhand, pepper the backhand, and now go to the forehand, that would be Rublev hitting stationary backhands and then running forehands. Novak shouldn't want that. Nobody should want that against Rublev because his running forehand is fine and his stationary backhand is fine. What's not fine is when you make him hit backhands on the run. And he's not good from that position. So I believe that's the logic there. The other thing is you never want to let Rublev hit run around forehands, off forehands. So, you know, if you are going to go to his forehand, you definitely want to make sure that he's hitting it from the deuce side where it's just not quite as effective and it's easier to read. So, I mean, I think it's a great play to go to Rublev's forehand. And that's what Djokovic decided to do. And it worked like a charm. Rublev's serve in this match truly got demolished. Truly got demolished. I was digging into the rally stat numbers, and here's the one that will really stand out and kind of tell you everything you need to know. On the third shot of the rally when Rublev is serving. So that means Rublev serve, Djokovic return. And now we're at the third shot, or the +1. Rublev hit 8 winners on the third shot of the rally. It's one of the things that makes him a good player, is that he hits a lot of big third shot forehands. He had 8 winners on that shot. But it was a net negative. He made 5 unforced errors, and Novak forced 10 errors on the return of serve. So Rublev made 15 total errors on the third shot and hit 8 winners. A negative ratio, again, in the best possible position for Rublev, other than actually serving, where you're always going to be very, very positive. Most of the time, your serve is going to win you the point. It's only going to lose you the point if you double fault. The next most advantageous position is the third shot in your service games. And Rublev was negative in his third shot, which is really incredible. I mean, first of all, it speaks to how many offensive returns that Djokovic hit to force 10 errors off of the return. And then also, you know, just to limit Rublev to 8 winners. It's really, really impressive stuff. So that is why you'll see numbers like win percentage on the first serve for Rublev, 61%, way lower than he needs it to be. Win percentage on the second serve, and this has been the issue for Rublev when he's played Novak indoors on hard court at the ATP Finals. They've played there twice. Rublev in this match was 32% winning on the second serve. Just getting attacked on that shot. I don't know that, you know, it's hard to say. I can't really tell if Rublev is getting better on the second serve or not. I need to try to see if the numbers are getting better. Novak is not a good example because Novak is just someone who is going to attack that shot so well. So Rublev's serve just didn't help him at all. Not a bit. Oh, and just let's look at, you know, returns in play for Novak was also really, really, really high. Let me just get you that real quick. I thought I had that. Oh, 70%. First serve returns in play. 70%. So there you go. Rublev's serve didn't work. In terms of Djokovic's movement and his defense, I don't think it's 100% right now. I do think he's moving relatively well and better than most players on tour. But when it comes to kind of stretching out and hitting the ball hard on the dead run, I do think there's a little bit lacking there right now. He can hit open stance backhands. He did try to hit some open stance sliding backhands. They weren't as effective as I think they usually are. And then there were also occasions where he was going to the backhand slice defense. But all in all, Rublev could not take advantage of that really because he wasn't coming forward. And, you know, that's how you need to put the ball away. If you're going to get that slice defense from Novak or weaker sliding defense from Novak, the way to take advantage of that is to come up to the net and finish it. Some people were saying that I need to put a "the" in front of net. I think you can say either one. You can come to net, come to the net. I don't think it matters. But Rublev did not do it either way. Mentally, I do want to say Andrey, he didn't seem fully into it to me. There was just something a little bit missing, I thought, mentally, and I kind of understand it. I mean, as much as I would have liked to see him look a little bit less resigned, he has to feel pretty helpless in these spots, but it is something that I observed. Meanwhile, Djokovic was quite irritable at times from the wind, and then also at other times from the crowd, which I just think you have the nighttime crowd. I don't know that the crowd was against Novak as a whole, but you just have unruly crowds night session in Australia, and Djokovic was not too happy with that at times. Andrey was upset with it at times as well. He was also irritated by the wind, though, for sure, where it was bothering his toss on one end especially. Playing in wind, it's not one of the things that I think Novak is incredible at, and it's not an area where I think his mentality actually works best. I think he's such a perfectionist that he gets quite frustrated when it's windy, actually. But he was able to stay with it, obviously, and despite being irritated at times, we know he can play good tennis when irritated. Hamstring was all right. It continues to seem like it's really on a pretty good path, and at this point, it would be surprising if the hamstring got in the way of what he wants to do in terms of trying to win this title. So, semifinals are next. He plays Tommy Paul. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.